Okay, I have an intro in another episode talking about how I find it difficult to talk about good movies on the same level as bad ones, as I feel I can't add anything to the discussion other than, yeah, it's good. However, I'm not going to try and move that into this movie review, but we'll move on. Thankfully, while going through the Coen brothers' filmography, I found a film hardly anyone talks about when it comes to some of their best work, and I would say it's one of my favorite movies of theirs, Miller's Crossing. Even if you aren't fully aware of the Coen brothers, you are probably aware of a bunch of their work. Raising Arizona, Big Lebowski, Hudsucker Proxy, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, the True Grit remake, Fargo, and more recently, the Netflix film Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Joel and Ethan Coen are a pair of director, writer, editors, and, well, brothers that have been working in Hollywood since about the 80s. They generally have an identifiable style, a willingness to satirize the genre they're writing for at the time, and having a great dialogue while at it. The reason I discovered this movie is rather simple. You see, I know a guy in a Discord I hang out in that hasn't really seen Buster Scruggs, and I hadn't seen Hail Caesar. So I got an idea. Basically, an online Discord Coen Brothers marathon, going through every directed Coen Brothers movie from Blood Simple to Scruggs, and then Macbeth, that Apple TV show got added onto the end. I won't go much further into detail beyond to say when I got to the week with Miller's Crossing and Barton Fink, I was expecting middle-of-the-road films. I've never heard of either of these in discussion of Coen Brothers' best movies, so I honestly was just like, alright, it's gonna be a slow week. Whatever. But, am I glad I was wrong? The absurdity of that one day was so great, I think I laughed for a good 20 minutes after the call ended. But Barton Fink isn't the reason for discussion today, so let's just trim it down to Miller's Crossing. Made in 1990, Miller's Crossing is a crime thriller about the right-hand mob man dealing with its own issues at the beginning of a turf war sparking between Irish and Italian mobs over a bookie and him possibly selling out his bets. But any further, and I'm just spoiling the movie. So, let's get to it. After the title sequence, we start on a man refilling a drink while a man complains how he fixes a fight someone named Bernie always snitches and messes with the payout odds.
He's selling the information. I fixed the fight.
You can learn from this early on, our main character does not fully care about this crime stuff. The other things is this is during Prohibition, and as the mob is inclined, they don't fucking care. The man complaining about the ethics of fixing a fight is head of the local Italian mob, Johnny Casper, whom most of the movie is called Casper versus... And he's talking to the current man running the town, head of the Irish mob, Leo Bannon, with our main character as his right-hand man, Tom Reagan.
We know that it's Bernie Birnbaum, the schmatter kid. Because ethically, he's kind of shaky.
So you want to kill him?
Leo enrages Johnny before telling him he's getting too big for his britches and he can't kill Bernie. After Johnny storms off, Tom recommends to Leo that he shouldn't anger Johnny while revealing a core character trait. He doesn't want other people to solve his debts. Oh right, I knew I forgot something. He's massively in debt to a man named Lazar, and most everyone knows it, but he won't let anyone resolve it for him.
I think I'll do that this very same night. Looking at you moping around takes away all my, what do you call it? Joy de vivre?
Joie de vivre.
Well, if you're gonna laugh at me, the hell with you.
The hell with you.
Rather paying it back via either bets or other schemes. Basically just being like, hey, not as a fine from, like, his boss, Leo. And actually, he says in the movie...
Couldn't you get it from Leo?
It's not Leo's debt. I'll pay me own way.
Tom awakens to having lost his hat in another failure to acquire money by playing cards. He heads to Verna's to get his hat back, and fucks her before we learn she's also dating Leo to protect Bernie.
It's a grift. If she didn't need you to protect her brother from Johnny Casper, you think she'd still be going on slow carriage rides with you through the park? That's the deal, isn't it? You keep Bernie under wraps till Casper cools down.
Tom basically tells him the truth, but leaves at the fact that he's the one fucking her. Leo admits he put a tail on Verna, but that guy's missing, and once we cut to the next scene, we see why. He's dead. A character named Mink comes to plead for Bertie's sake, revealing that they have closer ties than some might think. Tom points this out to him, and Mink gets a little bit worried.
What's going on between you and Bernie?
Nothing, Tom. We're just friends, you know, amigos.
You're a fickle boy, Mink. If Eddie Dane finds out that you got another amigo, well, I don't peg him for the understanding type.
Find out? How's he gonna find out? Damn it, Tom. You and me ain't even been talking. Jesus, Tom, damn it. Jesus.
Leo appears to be preparing for war with Johnny Casper, with the police chief and the mayor in his office about to crack down on some of the local speakeasy Johnny runs. Tom again recommends just giving up Bernie to avoid an endless war. After that, he drinks and acts like an ass to Verna.
Rumhead.
And I love you, Angel.
Following that scene, we see Bernie finally, and he pitches his deal to Tom. Make sure Leo keeps him safe, and he'll give him the info on the next fight, revealing Mink is also leaking information.
You really must have Mink jumping through hoops.
Like I say, you can't have too many.
And we get another piece of character for our lead. Just to avoid, unneeded conflict, he doesn't say no. He says he'll think about it. This comes back up, in the very next scene when Johnny also offers a similar deal to rat out Bernie, and Johnny will set his debts.
I just wrote this check out to your bookmaker, Lazar. It's for an even $1,500, which is more than I hear you owe him, but I figured you could always use some money on a cuff. High roller such as yourself. What do you say?
Thanks.
Always the yapper, huh? Well, you're welcome. You want to know why I'm putting you square with Lazar?
Not particularly.
I want everybody to be friends.
Tom smarts him, and we get into a fight. No, I say it's a fight, but it's 3 punches to throw, and then the police get involved.
Hold it.
Tom talks to the police chief, and we get a bit more character from Tom. Mainly that he takes his place as advisor seriously, and he might give his advice in a scenario, but if Leo does give the order, he follows through. Tom questions Verna about possibly killing the guy that was tailing her, and she claims she didn't. Subsequently, we get a glorious scene of an attempted hit on Leo. But I'm going to let as much of this scene play while talking about the thing that the Coen brothers are best at: dialogue. The Coen brothers love a smart mouth, and they know how to time it out with good editing and great camera work. I'll link the Every Frame a Painting video on this, which uses Miller's Crossing as reference footage actually, but the point still stands: the dialogue is well written, even if poorly directed. You can probably have a favorite movie of theirs, and the scene that you like specifically is probably a dialogue. Or even one of the few very strong monologues. Post-assassination attempt, Leo is fully preparing for an all-out war. Tom lets Leo know that Tom's bedoinking Verna. Leo takes it well. Now on the outs with his former boss, he makes a deal with Johnny after getting Verna to admit where Bernie is to keep him safe. When Tom visits Johnny to let him know where Bernie is, we see the power dynamic in this war has already changed with the mayor and the police chief in Johnny's office. Tommy gives Bernie's location as well as letting him know Mink is also up to no good. The Dane, however, does not like him because he vouches for the Mink. Johnny makes him check in on the Mink while Tom and the two goons take care of Bernie by taking him out to the titular location, Miller's Crossing.
Get your little heat ass in the car.
Let's go.
Come on, you scout.
What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me?
All right,
I didn't
we're
do
going to
nothing.
Miller's Crossing.
I didn't do... Tom!
Lock him up
Jesus!
here, for
Jesus,
Christ's
are you
sake.
part of this?
Sit
you
still,
can't be part
Jaime.
of this. I think these guys are gonna whack me, Tommy.
Get him to shut up.
One of the goons hands Tom a gun, saying he needs to prove himself. Okay, so I didn't decide to actually put in any notes for actors. Like, they're all doing their job really fucking well, and all of them deliver their lines fucking perfectly. But the only one I actually was able to put in notes for was John Turturro.
Buddy, hands me an angle, I play it. I don't deserve to die for that. Do you think I do? I'm just a grifter, huh, Tom? I'm a nobody.
He gives a fantastic performance of the fast talker really worried he's gonna die. He does all the other parts really well too. I just wanted to say, hey, he did a really good job here. It's a shame he got stuck with Transformers sequels.
I am directly below. The enemy screwed him.
Tom spares Bernie's life, telling him to go disappear, else he's going to get actually shot. We see Tom call Mink and start to plan something, distrusting the Dane, Johnny's top goon. If he's just going to take his place or fully get rid of the guy because he questions everything Tom says, we don't fully know. We just know that he's trying to sow a little bit of distrust. We basically get to see how Tom Reagan can use his no bullshit attitude to create a level of trust when he actually decides to make something up later down the line. It's all delivered the same, so either these criminal lords can ignore it and possibly make the situation worse than they think, or possibly listen to the smartest guy in the room. Some scenes with characters letting each other know about what each knows happens. Verna is revealed to have a revolver, not a .22 like Tom speculated earlier, which basically just confirms she's not the killer. Bernie shows up unannounced, revealing he's going to try and use the fact he's supposed to be dead to blackmail Tom. Since he's the only angle he's got, much like how he's always been, he always tries to play the angle. Recalling how Bernie talked up about a big bet on Saturday, Tom runs with that lead and gets the name Drop Johnson, but before he can follow up, the Dane grabs him due to doubting the actual assassination, as he calls it. They search around Miller's Crossing and surprisingly actually find someone matching the general description, but with his face completely blown up. Finishing up, Tom lets Drop know he needs to talk to Bernie. More scenes of the growing war are shown, including a cameo from Sam Raimi, a friend of the Coens. Tom stops by the mayor's office looking for Johnny, as we see he is using his pull with the mayor to hire some of his cousins into public works, while Tom continues to the mistrust angle, while it seems like Johnny isn't handling the running of the town as well as Leo did.
Who's running things?
Leo ain't running things. I ain't interested in ancient history. I'm running things now.
Bernie calls Tom and is given an ultimatum, $2,000 else Tom lets it slip to Johnny that Bernie's still in town, and how to find him. While also Tom figuring out that Mink is the one that is currently in Miller's Crossing, and that it was Mink's gun that killed Rugg. Succeeding that, Lazar's men beat up Tom for the money he still owes. Johnny gets a late night visit with Tom playing the mistrust angle one more time, but this time, the Dane's here to try and kill him.
Son of a bitch! Son of a bitch! You lousy son of a bitch! If there's one thing I can't stand, it's a double-cross artist!
Tom sends Johnny Casper and Bernie Birnbaum to the same room, and he basically lets whatever happens happen. And it's revealed to be all for Leo.
What was in it for you?
Nothing for me. Giving up Bernie was the only way I could see to straighten things out for Leo.
The result of the aftermath is Bernie having arrived a little bit early and getting the drop on Johnny, and in his usual quick-wittedness, Tom gets the gun from Bernie by acting like he needs to pin it on the Dane, a character we know was shot in the back of the head in an earlier scene. After pocketing the money Johnny brought, he shoots Bernie, basically admitting he played them all. Bernie tries the waterworks, but Tom ain't having it. He plants the weapons back in hand and makes a call to pay off his debts. During the funeral, Tom stops by to let Leo know that he's fully done. And the same leitmotif that's been playing over the credits and the intro and all this, it's been playing throughout the movie, and I genuinely don't... I'm not good with musical terms, so I don't know what it's doing, but it's the same one. I recognize it. The end. I hope I didn't poorly sell the movie too much by spoiling it, so I'm just gonna ask if I didn't, but the story intrigues you, watch it. It's definitely better than most of the crap online. The dialogue is as good as usual for the Coens, the actors give it their all, the overall story is great, I'm certain the music is doing something, but I'm not got the right ear for it. The camera work is mostly fine, definitely early days for these two, but it does have some very interesting choices near the end. While I think it's not explicitly one of their best, it's certainly one of my new favorites. Now, onto our regularly scheduled stuff. So the Avengers deep dive is taking way longer than expected. The Kamen Rider video I wanted to work on is also taking longer, due to both requiring me to look at way more footage than I was thinking about. I'll try to get the commentary out, but last of those groups being a cunt and claiming all my shit. Special thanks, as always, goes to Xavier Pulley for the music, That One Nerd Noel for the icon. I always appreciate it, buddy. And thank you guys for watching.